All right, good morning, everybody. Today is Daf Samach Gimel Amud Aleph. Back for Rabbi Reese for taking over Yontif. So we left off top of the Mishnah, or excuse me, top of the page on Samach Gimel Aleph. We're trying to explain the Mishnah. So just to quickly rewind. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it's fine. So yesterday just began to get into the the kishkas of Eitzim Nashach. So that was sort of like a play-in. So real quick, so right on the top of here, by Rabbi Yishia. So the case of the Mishnah was like this. So I go to Alan. Alan's going to be my shopkeeper. Thank you very so much. He's my shopkeeper. I say, okay, here's $25 for wheat. All right, here's a $100 bill, which is worth whatever. He gave him a golden dinar worth 25 silver. So I gave you 25, basically $25 worth of wheat. I said, I'll pick it up another time. I come back later, 2 weeks later, and that wheat that I bought, that 10 pounds of wheat is now worth $30. So I say, I need that wheat because I want to go ahead and sell the wheat, buy myself some wine. Alan says, wine? I got wine. I'll give you $30 credit for the wine, but I don't have the wine on me. So says the Mishnah, that's considered to be ribus midrabanan. That's the ribus over there. Now, why is that ribus? So there's a couple issues going on. All right. The first thing is that the price went up because remember, I'm giving him in the end, I gave him $25, and ultimately, right, I'm getting $30 of wine at a later date. No, wine at the end, because it was exchanged for the wine. Yeah, at the end, right? So the commission says because you didn't have wine, that's why, right? So we have to understand why you have to pay money, right? As opposed to, let's say, a previous debt. So, and the concept of ribus is that because you have use of my money, you give me extra benefits for the use of my money, i.e., I paid you $25 before, right? For a forward contract, all right? I gave you $25. So therefore, and then I got benefits, not just $25 back. I got different benefits back. So that was the case.
But didn't we say that as long as there is wine in the marketplace that I could go get?
So that's not according to all. So we'll soon see today. We'll discuss that concept. All right, we'll discuss the concept whether since I have money, right? It's this tantamount for me having that wine. I can just so let's see. So who was the one who made the statement? So it's Rafa said, right, Rabbi Yosha is going to be very happy with me because I'm going to go ahead and explain his price. Our mission is just like his price. The Tan Rabbi Yosha, top of the line in Samach Gimel Abed Aleph. A guy, he had a debt, right? No, he didn't pay him. He had a debt of money with the guy. So let's say Alan owes me $25. Back to the case, right? Alan owes me money, but the chaver mana, he owes me $100. So and I go to Alan's garret. I go to his threshing floor. I need my $25 back. Shani right or my $100. I want to go ahead and buy wheat. And then Alan turns to me and says, "Oh, good news. Listen, I owe you $100. So just take whatever the market value is for wheat. Take from this wheat." So he said, "Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take the wheat." So he gives man and all of a sudden it becomes an opportune time for me to go ahead and sell the wheat. So I'm about to go take it. So I'm like, so okay, give me my wheat. I want to go ahead and buy wine. I'm low. Right, Alan being the aggressive Machna Yehuda Shuk salesman, he says, "Oh, good news! You want wine? I got wine. I'll give you whatever the market is now for the amount of wheat that you had. I'll turn that into that of wine. I'll give you now. So all of a sudden, wine was a good time to sell right before the Sidarim.
The wheat of today price."
Right, it was right that time. Right, everything was of that time.
The wheat went up. No,
it could have gone up. It could have gone up. Not necessarily this case, but all these cases we'll see. We'll soon see. We'll soon learn. Have a couple shmami now from here. So he gives money. I link or family telling me, "I need to give my wine. You need rights. And I want to go and buy oil. I'm low. Good news. I got oil. Let me go ahead and make the price as it is now. So kulam im yeshlo mutter. As long as you had the wheat, you had the wine, you had the oil, all that is mutter. Because it's tantamount to me basically just taking it and just trading it with you or bartering it with you or selling it back to you. Elo, however, if he doesn't have any of those, in other words, he just uses the market price, so therefore it'll be usher, right? So this would be usher, and this would be and so therefore that's how, just like a Mishnah when we said yain elo. But Rava says it didn't make a difference. It didn't make a difference whether yesh or elo yain. That wasn't the issue. The issue was it all started on credit. So the Gemara says, "My lokach." So what does it mean, lokach? Lokach belbasar. Also, what it means in our Mishnah, it didn't. In this case, Rabbi Oshia is just like ours because in the Mishnah, when it says I went ahead and purchased with a dinar zav for 25 wheat in the Mishnah, it didn't mean that. It rather meant I had a loan, a previous loan that I loaned Alan, for whatever other reason, and he used that. So it's Rabbi Oshia's case was the exact same case in the Mishnah. It started with a loan, it transferred into commodities, and then the end they transferred to something else, and that was the case. And only it was a yeshlo, then there was no issue. But if it's englo, then it was a problem of ribs. And Amar Rav Shmami no Rabbi Yoshe Tlas.
It was a loan of $25.
Right, it was a loan from right. It was a previous.
A bushel of wheat was designated as the collateral for that, but he didn't pick it up.
Well, eventually, what happened? Rabbi Yoshe will say that he says, "Hey, I want my loan back." He said, "Okay, I'll pay you in wheat." The wheat was $25. I said, okay, perfect. And then later on, and a week later, when I come to get the wheat, it was also now 30. And then it came in exchange for the wine. But since he didn't have the wine, therefore that's why it was ribs. Now, Omer Rava Shmami no Rabbi Yoshe Tlas. We learn three things from this. So Shmami no Dbami din milva al gabi peiros v'lo imrinan d'lo yisir haba l'yadahu. That even something from a previous loan, right, is just like tantamount to basically giving cash of his previous loan, like as opposed to, let's say, like marriage, right? Kedushin, right? I can't marry a woman, says, hey, remember you owe me $100, cancel the loan, and now we're married. It doesn't work. But over here, right, if the store owner already owed the guy money, so then it's like he gave him, like he just paid him that money now, so therefore you can use the credit. So that's one thing. Also, we learn from here that he has to go ahead and have those objects. We can't just say, I'm going to go run out to the market and buy it from somewhere else. You have to have a mamash yeshlo. Ushmamino, Isa the Rabbi Yanai, right? The Amar Rabbi Yanai, Mali hey, Mali Dmeha, right? As according to Rabbi Yanai says, what does it make a difference? Right, so he says as we'll soon see. So he says, Malihin, what makes the difference if he has the items or he has the payers there right away? What do you mean? The Tamar Rav Omar Oisin Amana Bepeiros. You can go ahead and make a future business deal, right? For payros, we can't go ahead and make an arrangement that you're going to go ahead and I guess I can go ahead and forward buy produce, but I can't forward buy and get money back. In other words, if I go ahead and I say I want to buy peaches, right, and the peaches go up, so you have to give me back peaches, right? But you can't go ahead and give me back the money value for the peaches later on because it might have gone up. So you can't do money for money, but only money for produce. And Rabbi Yana Mali Hein Mali Demand. What does it make a difference? You can give him back, even though you paid for $10 of peaches, but by the time he went to the peaches worth $13, you can give him back $13. Why? Because what's the point of me giving him peaches for $13 worth of peaches and him just selling it and getting $13 cash? It's the same thing. So therefore, even though it looks funny, it's okay according to Rabbi Yanai. So I understand. We said as long as you get paid back the commodities, it's good. But if you pay back the cash, right? The guy just says, "Okay, I'll sell you oil." Like the case of Rabbi Yosef, that was the third item. And he didn't have the oil. Okay, I'll just give you the cash for the value of oil. And I'll go and buy it for you. That doesn't work. So Rav Yehuda, so over there, Rav the Shem Mashach. Over there, he made a kinyan. right? Over there, in other words, he made a kinyan, and therefore it was his. It wasn't a case of now collecting for something else. I made a kinyan on the oil or on the wine, and therefore that was the reason why it was mine. And even if it goes up, it's no big deal. So Gemara says, why do you have to tell me? So El Kadosh definitely Karen Zavis. Even if he had just established a quarter, he didn't make a kinyan on it. It was like it was his, and therefore it was like I acquired it, and therefore even if it goes up in value, and I get the money in return for it or the item in return for it, not a problem of ribis. Shmuel Omar Homani, whose opinion is this? This is Rabbi Yehuda. The Omar Tzad Echad Beribis Mutter, who holds that if there's an aspect of ribis on and only one of the ways, right? Then it's mutter. What do you mean? So let's say I give money, right? And so let's say I give money to Yigal, all right, and I give money to Yigal. I'm the lender, the creditor, and I use your field as collateral. And if I don't pay you back, actually, if you don't pay me back, I keep your field. Okay. Now, let's say, huh? So let's see. But let's see what Rabbi Yehuda says. So now this is tzad echad. So now, if you pay me back, you get the field back, right? If you don't pay me, I keep the field. So now let's say I start eating the fruits on the field. Okay, I eat the fruits while I'm holding onto the collateral. Okay, and you pay me back, and the field goes back to you. So what happened? I gave you $1,000. You gave me $1,000 and some grapes to eat, and I ate fruit, right? But let's say like this. Let's say I lent you $1,000 and I was eating the fruit of the field, and you said, you know what, you'll keep the field. So basically, all it was I was eating the fruits of my field. There's no part of ribis here, right? It was a sale, right? I bought the field for $1,000. I gave you $1,000. I took the field and I was eating from it, and I was eating my field, right? Everything is no good. So in other words, one way, if you go ahead and you pay me back, there's going to be interest. And if you don't pay me back and I just keep the field, then it was nothing. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, this would be okay. Obviously, even if you pay me back, okay, I'll just pay you back the interest, back. Oh, I ate your grapes from your field because you paid me back. Then I'll pay you back, and then things will be okay. So that was Rabbi Yehuda, as we soon see. The Tanya, the Bryce, that says, so someone was claiming $1,000. So Yigal owed me $100 a mana. And I said, Yigal, let's make your field the collateral. When the seller, if Yigal's eating from the field, from the grapes, right? Meanwhile, before he pays me back, before we don't know whether he's going to pay me back, Yigal eats from it as mutter. But if I'm the one who's eating from the fruits, right? Then usher. However, because why? Because if you remember, if Yigal pays me back, then it turns out that I lent him money, right? He paid me back, and I was eating the fruits, so therefore it was usher. Says Rabbi Yehuda, it's mutter. Right, Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Even if I lend Yigal $1,000 or $100, the money, right? And I'm eating the fruits, it's okay. So I'm Rabbi Yehuda. Why? There was a Maisa where this occurred, and the field was basically set as a collateral. And Alpi Rabbi Ezra ben Azariah, and the buyer was eating peros. Why? Because we assumed that maybe the guy won't pay back, and therefore it was okay for me to the fruits because it was like a sale. When I gave him the loan, he wasn't going to go ahead and pay me back, and therefore I was eating my own field, right? And therefore, if he pays me the money back, okay, so I'll sell it back to you for the same money, but I was eating that which was mine. Shamra, you can't bring a proof from there because Michael you had a little Maisa wrong. It was Yigal who was eating the fruits the whole time. Your proof does not exist. So the Gemara says, "My benayu." So what's the difference between Chachamim and Rabbi Yehuda? Tzadecha b'ribis, right? In other words, that since over there, if he goes ahead and doesn't pay me back, then it would never have been ribis. And if he does pay me back, then it would have been ribis, right? So therefore, Rabbi Yehuda says he can go ahead and eat it because we're not concerned tzadaka b'ribis because it doesn't appear like it's not ribis deraisa. So therefore, there's no gezer in this case. You don't have to do it. I'm saying no, it's ribis because in case he doesn't do it, it's going to appear like interest. And Rav Amar ribis al manas lahachzir ikabanai. In other words, even if it was something I was going to go ahead and pay back, that's still usher. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's mutter. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, says, okay, Yigal ends up paying me back. So I ate $15 worth of grapes on his field, and I'll pay him $15. According to Chachamim, according to Chachamim, so that you can't do it. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you could do it. And Amar Rabba, bottom line, Hashta Amar Rabbi Yanai. Now the Rabbi says,
You don't have to return.
huh?
According to Rabbi Yehuda, you don't have to return.
No, so
The
he
food that you consume,
right, so
if he gives you the money.
right, if he gives right, he gives him the money.
According to Rabbi Yehuda, you don't have to.
No, so according to this, he would do it, but according to the other ones, even if you return it, you're not allowed to, right? In other words, that it's still interest, it's still rivers. You weren't supposed to do it. You return it, you might give him a gift, but you took interest and you violated. The other one says, no, it's ribis almanas lahachzir. That would be mutter. And therefore, if he does go ahead and pay back, then I'll just pay back for that. And Rabbi Hashta, Rabbi Yana, now the Rabbi Yana says, Mali hey, Mali Demehen. So now the Rabbi Yana says, what's the difference, right? Whether I get the commodities or I get the increased value of the commodities in cash, right? We say, so once we say Mali hey, Mali Demehen Amrinan, so Mali Demehen, Mali hey, Nami Amrinan, we should say the other way around, right? Uposkim al shar shabashuk, the alpha pishay lo. So now remember, if it's if we're talking about a case of where if I have the cash, therefore I can take the fruits. So what's the difference then? If he says, in other words, if it's the value of the fruits, or he takes the money itself, right? It must be that you can go ahead and use the what's it called, the set prices of the shuk. In other words, just get cash, and then I can go ahead and buy in the marketplace. It should be the same thing. It should be, it works both ways, and therefore, as long as I get the value, right, and even if the guy doesn't have it, so I walk a little further down to Machane Yehuda, I can go buy it there. So it shouldn't make a difference. So it says kulam im yesh lo motor im lo aser, but it says beferish only if he has it. That you can't just give me the value to it and I go to give me the money and I go to another shopkeeper and buy the same amount, because it says over there he has to have it. No, if it came through a b'toras halva. Right, so I was saying yesterday when in Lincolnwood, right? So oftentimes, if you're watching these cases and unfold on TV, and you hit the mute button, okay, so it looks the same. A guy is giving him something, right? He's giving him cash, and he's getting something in value, and then he gets returned more in value. So sometimes it's mutter, sometimes it's usher. So if it was done b'toras halva, the guy says, "Can you loan me this?" Right? And then he gives him the fruits and he's holding as collateral, and that goes up. So then it could be usher. But if it's b'torah zvini, if it was something that he purchased and then it goes up in value, then he sells it back to him, well, then it's totally permitted, right? So it depends. Over there, the case was over there. In Rabbi Yosha's case, it was a halva, it was a loan. So therefore, the loan he has to have the commodity. But if it was a zvini, a sale, then he didn't have to go ahead and do it, right? Now, he can go ahead and get the money at the time of the purchase. And Rabbi Yosef on Tavaya, my time on Rabbanan Paiskin Lashar Shabashuk. What's the reason why they say as long as the market price is set, you can go ahead and have this forward contract? Even if he doesn't have it, Damarle Shakil to Vasecha Vashadiachzure. Mayanas Li. Yihavili Zuzabiyadi, having Mizvina Bahani Vashili Vazili. In other words, he's saying like this. There's no benefit I'm getting by this forward contract with you. Right? I go to Alan and I give him money and I say, okay, I'm going to go ahead. And this is for I need for shuas. I need cheesecake. I'm going to give you now and I'm giving the price now and then later on it goes up and Alan gives me more because you're not giving me any benefit. Why? Because I could have taken the same money and go to. And by then I have the money now. So you're not giving me any benefit by me getting more later on, because I could have done it. I could have bought it for cheap now. So no, therefore, since there's an established a set price, so therefore you're not treating me any different, and I'm not getting any special treatment because you're holding on to my money for a longer time. So I'm by the Rabbi Yosef, right? Well, if that's the case, we know the case. If I said, okay, I'm going to lend you a pound of sugar or something. Hey, I need a pound of sugar. Okay, sure. And then I come and get it later on, a month later, and the sugar's worth more. So but we say that's us. So why is that us? Right? You didn't do me any favors. And therefore I'm paying you more back. He says over there, in other words, my wheat would have gone up, or my sugar, and instead of giving it to you right now worth $10, and then I get a pound of sugar back when it's $12. You didn't do me any favors. I could have just left it, and in a month from now, it would have been worth $12 on its own. So it wasn't like I'm not benefiting from you using my sugar, then paying me more later on or more value later on because I could have used the same thing. Now, if it's b'taras hava, can I borrow it and then I'll lend you back? So that's hava. But a zvini, right, a sale, that would be okay. And I'm really abala rava. I've haba the mesev zuzi l'safsira. So what do you mean? If I want to go ahead and sell it, I would have to go ahead and pay someone to go ahead and find someone to go ahead with the merchandise. Find myself people who have the product. An agent. Okay, so he's allowed to go ahead and pay the agency fee. And Rav Ashi Omar, no. You know who's his agent? Having cash on hand. You know, if a guy has cash, then all the people with the product are going to find him. You don't need to find people with the product. People with products are going to find out you're sitting on cash. They're going to come running to you. And Rabbi Yesi Dermatavayu, hi, Mandia Zuze Atar Kharifa. A person goes ahead and he gives money, right? Before the market price is set. Right? So it's even before the market price is set. He has to go ahead and go to futures to go to his threshing floor to go ahead and to basically to make we'll soon see why to get the product that he's going to buy in the future. I want to buy your wheat, so I got to go to the threshing floor. We establish a price, and I go there and I give you the money there, and I go to the threshing floor. So I said, Lamai, I understand. Why does he have to go to the Beidar, to the threshing floor? So if he's going to make a kinyan, well, he didn't pick it up. He didn't make a kinyan. He just saw it. And if we're talking about a case, he has to go there in order that if he reneges on it, then he gets cursed, like we saw earlier in the previous parak, that a person, he backs out of a price. Hashem should punish him, right? Mishapara, as we call it. So if he doesn't go down there and take a look at it, he also really is cursed for going back on his word. So Gemara says no. Really, it is to get mishapara. What's the issue here? So why wasn't it mishapara if he didn't go down to see it? Because really, what happens? The yaivs who say atara charifa lebei trade plus a yav. Because when a person does an early purchase before the market is set, he does it to a number of people, right? The sellers know, these wholesalers know that people are coming. And a lot of times they like to put their money in early, but they put a deposit down or they put money down, but they're not necessarily all serious, right? And therefore they don't really think that the person is going to go ahead and follow up with that purchase. And therefore, since they don't really believe the guy, they wouldn't be violating Mishapar, right? If the guy comes back and says, okay, I really want to buy the product at the pre-market price we established, then great. If not, Amarle. I figured you found somebody else who had better product or you bought from him. And Rav Hashi says, Rav Hashi, now we say because it's when he relies upon it, then it's smichas das. If he doesn't rely upon it, then there is no mishapara. If he finds in the shuk and he points it out, he doesn't have to go all the way to the threshing floor. If he just bumps into the guy, he says, oh, good, I bumped into you because I wanted to tell you I want to do the sale, then he's basically, he's in the sale, and if he backs out then he violates Mishapar. And Amar Rav Nachman says, Rav Nachman, a big rule here, Klal de Rabisa, this is something to remember for the rest of the parak, Kol Agar Natar Le Aser. Any reward that a person gets for waiting, that is considered to be ribs, right? In other words, if I give you my money and don't get right back in return, right? Anything that I get back above and beyond what I gave to you is considered a reward. Such a reward is ribis. The person goes and he gives money to a guy at the shuk. He's selling wax because he and each one sells for 4. His guy says, give me the money now. And I'll give you for 5. If the guy had the wax available to him right now, then it's mutter, right? In other words, it's mutter. You can take it right now, or you can leave it here, and you can take the 5 later on. But, however, less new Gabi. But if he doesn't have it by him, then Gabi, that's usher. That's usher because it appears like he's getting a better deal because he's paying him now only to get it later on because he doesn't have it now. So therefore, he appears that he's being rewarded for waiting. So Gemara says, Pshita, it's obvious. He goes, maybe it's a case of there is other wax sellers in the city. So Malzim Ojim said, came in these since people were selling maybe it could be like a case where a guy has it, but it's just locked in a storehouse and he just needs the key to open it up, and then I have it. So to over here, oh, you want wax? I don't have it, but I know many suppliers to do it. Wait here, I'll be back in 2 hours and I'll get it. So it could be maybe the same thing considered as if I have it. Kamash Malon. Cave in the Mechasi Gubaina, since it's lacking me collecting it from other suppliers, come on to lesson dumb. It's not like it's considered to be here. Furthermore, says you see
So it does consider it.
yeah. If someone borrows some money from his friend, and all of a sudden he looks in his pocket, the guy gives him money, looks in his pocket, holy cow, he gave me extra money. So did he make a mistake? Or did he try to give me a matana? So ibich de shadas toya, if it's something that someone will make a mistake, right? If it's something that was mistaken, could be a mistake, then you have to return it vilav. But if it's not something that really was, way too coincidental, right? And therefore he must have done it purposely. Matana it was Matana gave it to me. So hey chidami shadas toya. What does it mean that the person intentionally did it? So Amar Rav Acha b'rei Rav Yosef. So he says, in other words, when he adds on to a tenfold or fivefold, some even number, then it's considered to be something that was done intentional. If it was something that was done intentional, then it was a gift and not a mistake. All right, we'll stop here. It's funny, Mike. So when I had to,
What was the last line again?
when I had my